There's acorns falling absolutely everywhere here, folks. One of them's already bonked me on the head. So, after I caught my PB crucian a couple of weeks ago, Papa West has been dying to get down here and have a go for one for himself. So he's going to be fishing the double method feeders, targeting those. In the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is something a little bit different, something a little bit fun to keep things entertaining on the channel. I'm going to be setting two popular fishing methods against each other. I'm going to be fishing one rod on a cage feeder on the tip rod, and I'm going to be fishing the other rod on a method feeder on a bite alarm. What I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to be using obviously artificial baits like wafters and pellets. Artificial, I say artificial, it's all natural ingredients, but you know what I mean, on the method feeder, and naturals on the cage feeder. So I've got maggots, I've got mussels, which cost me an absolute fortune. So to support the channel, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button and like it as well. But I'm going to try and earn that subscription today, but that'll help pay for them mussels. I think they were about £4, this bag of paella mix. I couldn't find mussels on their own, so that's what I'm going to be using. I've got some worms as well. So naturals on that rod with a very high quality cage feeder mix. I'm using my usual method feeder setup. I soaked some contrast pellets as soon as I got here, and then with that water I mixed my cage feeder mix. It's a high quality expander ground bait. I've put some hemp in there, I've put some maggots. This can be a very, very challenging natural fishery, so you've really got to refine your approach a little bit. So I've swapped down to 8 pound mainline on the feeder rod, but I'm still confident that if we hook something decent, I'll be able to get that fish in. I'm fishing both rods over to the far snags at the back. The reason I'm doing that is so that it's fair. If they're both fishing over to the far snags, then it's going to be a fair test. Simple tactics, simple approach. I'm just using a foot long cage feeder hook length, and obviously usual on the method feeder 4-inch hook length, using a 30 gram cage and a 30 gram method feeder. I've got a battle bolt bead on the method feeder, and then I've got a running bolt bead on the cage feeder. So the setups are very easy, very straightforward. That's just about it. We're going to see which is going to be the winning tactic today. As I've said, I believe mussels do really well here. I've had to use a slightly bigger hook for the mussel, but if we're really struggling, I'll scale the feeder rod right down to maggots and maybe like a size 14 or something like that. And if I'm really struggling on the method feeder, I can also scale that down. I've tied up some size 14 rigs with really small bands, so I can use my pineapple 4x6mm wafters, which are tiny. I'm not fussy about what I catch today, as long as I'm catching. I'll start off with the big guns, and if I need to later on in the day, I'll scale everything right back. Right folks, let's get into the video. Let's see which is a better technique on a natural venue, the cage feeder or the method feeder. My vote is on the method feeder always, but we'll see, who knows. I've got absolutely everything I need right next to me here. Got my lovely feeder mix, which could do with a little bit more water now it's dried out a touch. So we'll put a touch more water in that in a minute. Got my method feeder pellets, paella mix, and then my baiting needle for loading them on. Obviously, when you're fishing a cage feeder, it's not like fishing a method feeder. You've got to watch the tip. You've got to strike at bites. So I'm not going to be doing loads of filming today because I really need to concentrate on what's happening with the tip. So I'll probably only update you today when I make any changes or if I manage to catch something. And also, I'll show you if Papa West manages anything today as well. Papa West's fishing here on his double method feeder setup. He's just had a single bleep on his right hand rod, which is over to the snags. His other one is fishing down here to the left, but it's very shallow, yeah. But it is very shallow there, which isn't to say that there aren't fish down there, but I think he might be better off fishing both of them over to the far side. But that means we've got 4 rods down this edge, but I'm pretty sure that's where the fish are. So I think if we get a fair amount of feed in, the fish will find it. It's a massive lake, this. Let me just show you how big it is. Look at that. It goes all the way down there. Huge bit of water, this. I think feeding positively is the way forward. We have had a big temperature drop, but things should have settled from that because the temperature's been lower for about a week now, so the fish tend to settle into it and then the fishing becomes good again. I've seen loads of good catch reports on my community group on Facebook, which is what I actually use to gauge how good the fishing is at the moment. You'll find that people will go through spells of having really good catches, and I get really good catch reports, and then when I start struggling, everybody else starts struggling as well. So you do see a theme. It's really interesting, and that's all over the country as well. That's just not specific to one location. Just going to put a touch more water in here, mix it through. It's a good thing about ground bait. It's better to put not enough water in rather than too much. Can't take it out, but you can always put some in. And there we go, that's sticking much better and it's still breaking up. That's perfect now. I've been through it a million times before on the channel, but people still ask me how long to soak pellets for. And there's no definitive answer to it because it really depends on the water temperature and the time of year. So I would say anything from 30 seconds, I know that doesn't sound a lot, but 30 seconds in summer to 2 minutes in winter. But if you want a good midpoint, then soak your pellets for a minute, and if you feel like they're not holding to the method feeder, then you can always put a touch more water in just to soften them up a little bit. So like the ground bait, it's better to underdo them and have them drier than overdo them. But what happens if your pellets are too dry is your method feeder will hit the water and all the pellets will come off instantaneously on the cast. So you want them to hold together firmly, but if you're still getting pellets stuck in the method feeder when you reel in, that means that they're too soft and that you might need to add a few dry pellets just to help them break up a bit more. There's always a way of fixing it, so don't panic if you feel like you've messed your pellets up. Save some in the bag just in case that you do forget about them, over wet them. It happens to me all the time. I don't really overthink it, but you see these are probably a touch on the dry side. So all I'm going to do is just splash some water on them, give them a little bit of a stir, mix that water through and leave them to sit for 5 minutes and they will be absolutely perfect. So don't stress about it. The only thing that would have changed about today's fishing conditions is I would have liked a little bit of a breeze blowing down this side. It is still calm, and I've never ever hammered a fishery when it's been still calm like this. You always need a bit of a breeze, whether it just breaks the surface tension of the water, whether it oxygenates it, whether it pushes food about, whether it stirs the water up. I don't know what it is, but when there's wind on a fishery, they always fish better, especially for carp. Right, time for a recast, I think. Let's do the method feeder first. So rods that I'm using today, this is a Corum Opportunist 6 foot, and that's a Guru Engage Pro 10 foot feeder rod. It's very tricky casting in this swim because there's overhanging trees above me. Bit of Coca Scope glaze. Let's get some smell in the water. So how I'm managing to get it all the way to the back edge and avoid the trees is I'm having to kneel down, and obviously that's why I've brought these short rods. So what I'll do is obviously sinking my line gently, tightening up to that feeder, but I don't want to pull the feeder, I don't want to move it. It's very silty here with it being a natural venue. Bait runner on, but I'll get straight on that if I did happen to get a bite. I've got bait runner reels on both rods just as a bit of an insurance policy really, so that I can whack it on if I get a fish on the other rod and then my rod's not going to get dragged in. I've got this set up on my tackle and bait mate like I've been doing in my videos recently. Tell you what, mussels are actually a really durable bait. I thought they'd be really soft, so I'm using quick stop rigs, which obviously I tied up yesterday. Nice and easy to load these on. I've got some prawns in there as well in the paella mix. Just going to split the mussel in half and then go straight through it. And obviously I'm hair rigging them so that the hook's completely free. This feeder mix is nice and fluffy, it's perfect now. I'm using quite a big cage feeder because I'm hoping that I'll bring maybe some of the bigger bream in if I feed heavy enough. Yeah, I'm not bothered what I catch today, I'll catch bream. No problem at all. So it's a little bit trickier this cast in 10 foot. Much easier with the 6 foot rod. But I've got a little bit of space above me there between the trees going this way. There, we better cast that time. We're a lot closer to that far tree line, but I still want to be even tighter if I can. I don't want to clip up because there are some absolute lumps in here and I just don't want to get broke. I want to be able to get one of those lumps in if I manage to hook one. Just pulling at this. Probably too small for the mussel. I'm going to feed quite aggressively at the start on the cage. Loads of debris down there on the bottom. It's definitely been picked at. I'm going to leave that on though because obviously there's not an endless supply of mussels in that bag, so interestingly enough, Dad, I've just cast it again, recast it closer to the bush, and I'm getting twitches straight away again. Being tight to them snags are essential. Right, well, I think I'm going to scale down, Dad. Yeah, size 14, 6mm wafter on that, and maggots on this. Right, well, I can already tell it's going to be a tough day, so let's scale right down. Keep the same size cage feeder on. Oh, it's come out. Yeah, a crucian as well. You can tell by the way it was kiting round. No, must have only just hooked it or something. That one was tight into that far edge. I don't think I could cast it there again if I tried. Maggot rig on, which is obviously just a size 14. Again, like I said, keeping the same size of cage feeder on because I want to put a decent amount of feed out. Keep them in the swim, keep them competing. 2 red maggot on the hook. Size 14 on, little tiny band on it. Or 4x6mm. Is it a bream? So this is why I never catch any fish. Too busy filming my dad's. If that.
Better paint it.
Well, save the black pops. Now, obviously I've mixed an absolute load of ground bait here, but I think I'm going to go out on the river this week, so it won't go to waste. I'll just, I'll either freeze it or stick it in the fridge for a couple of days. It'll be fine. This was happening the last time I fished here as well, when I was in the other peg and I was fishing about halfway across. There was tons of bubbles coming up, there was tons of blowing and activity, but I just weren't getting any bites, and it started happening again towards the back edge. And I've got a feeling it's just because it's so silty that the fish are just really struggling to find the bait. I'm not even getting bites on the maggots on the cage feeder, so there's a couple of changes that I could make to try and get a bite. I could make the hook length longer on the cage feeder so it sits above the silt, or alternatively I could put a wafter on the cage feeder rig so that it just wafts above some of the silt. Now that doesn't always help, because if carp are feeding in the silt, they're in the silt, like they're grubbing about in the, so that's not always the way forward. The sun's come out and my god, it is boiling in that sun, but it's super bright. I'm just reflecting the sun. Oh yeah, look at all that blowing coming out across from me there, Dad. Oh, here we are, we're on the maggots. Might be a good bream, this. I think it's just literally they're taking ages to find the bait. Obviously I've got to take it easy, small hook and all that, but yeah, nice bream. This is what will be causing all that blowing. Well, save the bite. Nice bream. Put up a good account of itself for a bream as well. It was fighting really well. I certainly didn't think it was a bream. If it wasn't for the knocking and the head banging, I definitely wouldn't have thought that was a bream. Just had a liner and there are bubbles coming up on the spot. Hopefully that's a carp. We'll see. Yeah, I think it's another bream. Why are they fighting so hard? I can't move it. Weird. Honestly, folks, these bream are just like solid. That is a nice slab, that, folks. Nice slab, Dad. Bit bigger. Yeah. I think now I've got those bream competing in the swim. They've obviously moved on to the bait because I've been casting quite frequently. Yeah. I've built up that bed of ground bait, hemp and maggots, and they'll all be homing in on it now. It can take a while for bream to find the feed, so you've got to be patient with it with bream. Definite. But they'll find it. They'll definitely find it. Bleeding hard getting it back on that same spot every time. Well, that's currently 2-0 to the naturals on the cage feeder. But saying that, we did lose one on the method feeder, but it only counts if they're in the net. Dad, they're absolutely solid, these bream. What's up with them? Look at it. Folks, honestly, It feels like I've got a £20 carp on here. It's a bream. I know it's a bream by the way that it's head shaking. Weird, weird, weird. Roll a good stamp. We're getting bigger, Dad. But that's 3 for the cage feeder, nothing for the method feeder. It's lagging behind today. Oh yeah, that's a proper bream. Not as big as the ones in Burkacre, but it's on its way. Look at that. Dad's doing loads of weeding today out the lake. You're not counting them 2 branches as fish though.
Do you not get half for each?
No. It'll be nice and snag free for me next time I want to fish that swim, Dad. Very, very odd fights on these bream. They just feel solid. I'm not sure it's in the tree. I've hooked the tree, is what I've done. Well, we got it out of the tree. I knew I'd end up there at some point today. Just hard work casting. Just caught the very, 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 very edge and hooked it. Lucky I didn't snap the tip. Dad's only had 1 bream today, that's how much of a struggle it's been. And if you're wondering why he's sat on his barra, you forgot your chair, haven't you, Dad?
Yeah, I did. Like a right numpty.
But scores on the doors are 3 bream for the cage feeder and only 1 hookup on the method feeder, and I lost that one. But I do think that one was a crucian. Might be a place to bring the deeper down and see what the bottom is actually like. I'd like to map it, so I think we'll do that at some point over the next month or so. But I think over the next few weeks I'm going to fish some easier venues and just get some carp on the bank before it starts getting too tough. That's the plan. We'll get some method feeder fishing in, and then through winter and stuff like that I'll be focusing on the river fishing, I would have thought. I feel I need to say this, folks, because there'll be people out there that thinks this is some kind of serious test that I'm doing. It's just a bit of fun. It really just is a bit of fun. There'll be venues where the method feeder works better and there'll be venues where the cage feeder works better. There's no definitive winner, but today the cage feeder has got more fish on the bank. So that's just the way it goes, and that's purely because these acorns. That's purely because of the type of venue that I'm fishing today. It's sometimes good to explore and try new methods and techniques. It makes fishing more interesting, it makes it more fun. It's been a cracking day today. Lovely, lovely fishery to fish. Even though it is tough fishing, it's still a beautiful place. Tons of wildlife about. Superb setting, always quiet. So do I recommend it? Absolutely. And there's the opportunity of some absolutely cracking fishing here, like you've seen in previous videos. In light of today's session not being full on, I'm going to do a giveaway in today's video, and I'll be giving away one of my Olympian tackle pellet wetters / water buckets. So as you can see, it's got an EVA mesh top there that zips up. You can wet your pellets in there, you can wet fish down with it, use it as a bucket, whatever. Comes with a throw rope. So I'll be giving one of those away in today's video. All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning is make sure you've commented, make sure you like the video, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to support me, head over to the WestysAngling Instagram or Facebook page, which is where I announce the winners, and give me a subscribe on there as well. And if you've got TikTok, why not check my TikTok out as well? I'm trying to be more active on TikTok, but YouTube takes up a lot of my time, so yeah, I enjoy making the long form content more than the short form content. I think there's way too many people making the short form content, and yeah, I just prefer the longer stuff. I like bringing you with me on my adventures. That's what I like the most. Something you can sit down and watch with a brew. But hopefully I'll get something else on the bank before I pack up. It's a nice one. They've all been a similar sort of stamp, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
Nice fish though, they're all pristine. Dad's just said, is that 3-2 to me? I don't even know we're having a contest. There's no contest, Dad. There's no contest. Just a little side note as well, folks. Some people have been asking me how to make the Tackle and Bait Mate rod rest setup like this more stable. Well, for me, this is stable enough. Like, you can't get it any more stable. Even a feeder arm isn't this stable. But I literally screw these thick bank sticks, which are on the website, down into the bottom plastic, and it's ultra stable. If you wanted to make it even more stable, you could put 2 inches of foam in the bottom and screw your bank sticks into the foam. That'd make it even more stable. You could do that, but for me, that's more than stable enough without the foam. Just a little idea for those of you that really want to secure it. I know a couple of people have tried to use 2 rods on this, which they've been successful in doing, but they said it's not ultra stable. So use the foam, put some thick foam in the bottom of those tubes, and I promise you it'll be ultra stable. Obviously make sure you've got a good amount of tackle and weight in it, which is just going to make it solid. I've had a good few carp using this setup now, and it's never been anywhere near moving or falling over or anything, and a hell of a lot more stable than a feeder arm. You know how it is, sometimes when you get a savage take with a feeder arm, it rips the feeder arm right round, but with this it's just solid. What do you want to do, Pops? Are we calling it?
Yeah, just giving it 5 more minutes and just leave beep on that left hand rod.
Well, we're going to give it another 5 or 10 minutes and then get packed up. Tough all day, but it's been nice to get out, hasn't it, Dad?
Yeah,
nice places.
So we both caught.
Yeah, save the blank. Not the best test video, and you've not got your crucian, but hey, that's fishing at the end of the day. Doesn't go to plan, does it?
No, never.
Never goes to plan.
You're boring.
Yeah, that's true that, Dad. If it was too easy, then it would be boring, wouldn't it? It's part of the challenge. I just want to say thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Westies Angling. Who knows what I'll be doing, but I'll be out on the bank. Won't we, Dad?
We certainly will.